Let's get started.
Here we go. Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
As always with PostJoe, we start off with tradition, naming a new Patreon, and this week is no different. This week I think someone got one over on us. Big shout out to Lundquist Real Estate. Came at Brian Redband, but do you think that was someone doing a cheap ad?
No, they also follow us on YouTube, and it's Lundquist Real Estate.
Yeah, they did make a kind comment, so I
It's probably just somebody's.
did not think it was
Instagram
nefarious.
account. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lundquist Real Estate. And then we have Connor Blaine coming out, Brendan Schaub. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you.
Much love.
Wherever
very
you come
much.
from, I hope you're well and safe. And as always, thank you to all the Patreons. We appreciate your support to no end.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all very much.
And Alex Anathopoulos,
And Gavin Workman.
always and forever.
Simon, I wanted to start off with my note.
Oh, yeah.
So, Microsoft just released their flight simulator for the first time in like 16 years or 14 years or something. And I think it's right up your alley.
We're talking about flying a plane?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, so he flies in this simulator and then...
Well, yeah, I think if he could... First of all, it could help you with your fear of flying in general, just because you can literally... They map the whole world. So the first thing I thought of was Simon could actually see a lot of places rendered in like 3D that he could never really see otherwise, because you can fly like little Cessnas around them. So you could fly like a Cessna by the Taj Mahal.
Around Machu Picchu or whatever?
Yeah, all that
that's
stuff.
That's cool.
So,
Epstein Island.
yep, you could probably find that too. But the point is then I thought deeper about it. I was like, fuck, maybe he could even get over his fear of flying by just like playing a shitload of flight simulator and getting used to the fact that
Almost like hypnotism.
Yeah, I mean, my dad
Immersion therapy.
always told me that I could do that if I really wanted to, because he has some hookup to that through
the
he
immersion
does.
therapy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They have one of these simulators.
But I'm just saying this seems cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you just need a computer in this program. And again, I was just thinking of you, and I thought it was an interesting. The craziest too is I watched something on it, and AI built the whole thing. Microsoft had to go in and tell them where specific landing fields were, but AI mapped the whole fucking thing.
Really?
It said this is where we need to put trees. This is where roads are. Nuts. So they got the whole world.
That's interesting. Imagine it mapped the whole thing, but it made the world flat. They just like took over and was like, this is how it is.
Well, I mean, if you fly long enough, it just seems flat. No, but I thought, there you go. So check it out. Flight Simulator. New one.
Did you got...
Next stop, you and Grant Hancock, Machu Picchu.
There you go.
Yes.
You can start moving boulders with your big head.
Go ahead. Come on.
Oh, real quick. Also, someone on the YouTube wants you to wear a straw hat and rock a corncob pipe for an episode.
A straw hat and a corncob pipe. Why? Well, you know, that's going to take a Patreon donation.
I think they're already on the Patreon, but I'll check.
Then I'll do it.
Okay.
No problem. Like, what did Joe wear the other day when the guy won? The fighter, remember on the... what's that fucking show he does called? Dude, I'm so high. Joe does a program where they get together and they talk about the fight companion.
Yes. Jesus.
Well, the last one they did,
Mm-hmm.
they were watching, and Joe said if the Australian wins,
Yeah.
he has to wear
Oh, I didn't see that.
some hat that he gave
Like
him.
the Wallaby hat.
Some
Like
hat.
Crocodile
Gotcha.
Dundee.
And then
Gotcha.
Joe wore the hat. I didn't think it was the Crocodile Dundee hat, though.
It's leather. I think it was leather.
Was it? Anyway, so then he wore the hat.
Gotcha.
So I'll do the same. Corncob pipe.
Was it this week? I don't remember that Joe honestly expressed his regret in not going to Egypt.
Yes.
It was this week that he
Yeah.
sort of reminisced.
And he said that it's still one place he feels like he has to go.
There you go, back to Flight Simulator. That's one of the things they show in the fucking ad is them flying a little Cessna by the pyramids.
Did I tell you guys, sorry, just about ancient civilizations for a second here. Did I tell you that they found underneath the Wailing Wall that there's this whole tunnel system, and in it was 1,000-ton stone that they can't date back to any civilization that was around.
You did not tell us
according to their
that.
time frame. That is very cool. Like, I mean, ton of possibilities there, but just such a neat mystery, you know, like you're doing your archaeology and you find this stone in tunnels underneath the ground, quarried from somewhere, like the rock comes from so far away, and they don't know what civilization did it. Very cool.
Very cool.
And very hard to study. Isn't the Wailing Wall like some sacred place they can't excavate?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
So it can remain a mystery.
Unless the aliens tell us why it's there.
Well, you know how Kamar was saying every generation always thinks that they're going to be the one who sees aliens or who the end of the world is going to be. This is what Nikki Glaser was talking about too. It's got to be one generation.
It does.
Like someone's going to see it. So there's just as much probability, if not more, of us seeing it than some other one that's, well, obviously that's already passed. We know they're not going to see it.
But that's the two camps. There's people who think, wow, it'll be someone, but not me. And then there's the ones that this is coming in my lifetime.
Well, I'm just saying,
I'm that special.
You are just as likely to be that special as you are to be that not that special.
I was thinking how crazy it was that we're not as afraid of nuclear proliferation as we were 30 years ago. Like there was an honest concern that someone's going to blow up the whole planet, and the situation is the exact same today, but it's not a stress on people.
Well, it all depends on how it's framed, right? Like the Cold War, that's what that was for. It was to put fear in you about the possibility that these people were going to nuclear bomb you.
But nothing's changed, but we're just not afraid anymore. Like all the bombs exist to blow up the world 10 times over.
Well, I just feel like now you're inundated all the time with constant fear, where back then, like the airwaves played such an important role in what you were delivered.
I think it's for the best.
I got to show you. I know you're going to laugh at me. I don't care. I'll show it to you.
How can I laugh at you for anything, Matt? I said magic with a K and that people can move shit with their mind.
Okay. I have to show you the ad for the new Call of Duty. Not for the video game at all.
For the how good it looks?
No, it doesn't show you any of the video game at all.
What are you going to show me?
It's very interesting. I have to do some background into whether this...
Like the way they're selling it.
Is it in space?
No, it's not in space. It's Cold War. It's Cold War era.
Oh, going back.
Cold War era.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what, they're making up a war?
No, the Cold War was a... There was a Cold War, was there not?
Well, not between America and Russia.
The Cold War never happened?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, a Cold War means it's a war that has no fighting, right?
I get it. There was no boots on the ground, but it's still, they're just going to that Soviet era, so it's...
That's what I mean. So
Yeah.
they're making up a war.
Well, I mean, it's a fucking video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do World War I. Sometimes they do World War II or Vietnam. Those are all real things.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Cold War was a real thing. But,
So is this like the Chechen war?
well, they
that
haven't
they're
showed us
fighting,
anything,
or-
so I
Okay.
don't...
Sorry.
This fucking guy, I haven't even...
Wait for it.
I haven't
Yeah,
gotten
watch it.
2
I know.
seconds in.
You're
I'm
ruining
a
it for
And I haven't
yourself.
even showed you the thing, so there's
I'm
nothing
a real-
to freak out.
I'm
Yeah,
a real asshole.
it's fine. I'll show it to you after, and we can discuss
Yeah.
it next week
Okay,
because
fine.
it's very. There's the ad is just a video of this Russian guy talking from the 80s, but everything he's saying is like wildly relevant to right now.
Really?
Insane.
And it's real footage.
I don't know. That's
Oh.
the thing I have to look into.
Okay. Let's find out.
Either way, go ahead,
Yeah.
Kumar. Move on.
Yeah, I don't have too much today for the PostJoe, but in cultural appropriation going wrong, Will Smith and Kevin Hart have announced that they are redoing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Now, why is that cultural appropriation gone wrong?
What do you think it's a good idea?
For them to remake a movie?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? I just
I failed
think
to
it's so
see the
iconic
racial component.
with John Candy and
I think they'll
Steve Martin.
I think they'll do a funny job. I mean, look, should they remake any movies? No, probably not. But if they're going to, like, I could think of worse guys they could cast in those roles.
Yeah, I suppose the race doesn't actually matter, but I think that's too iconic.
You know what's a
lie.
hilarious movie? Just speaking of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which is an awesome movie, is Due Date. Is it Due Date? With Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis. Have
I've
you seen it?
Yeah, it's great.
Is he a
Dude,
cop?
It is hilarious. No,
They're traveling across the country.
It's pretty much Plane, Trains, and Automobiles.
There's a coffee can with money though in it, right, or something?
No, I don't think so.
I think there is.
I don't think a coffee can with money. You mean is there like a sub adventure to it?
That's part of the story.
Maybe at some point they end up going over the border, and
Yep.
he.
How about this?
No,
How about
you're
this?
thinking of RV, Kamar, the one with not RV,
Well, with Sudeikis.
with Sudeikis, exactly. Meet the Carters or the Fishers, or I don't whatever. It doesn't matter.
How about this? Remake Back to the Future with a black person.
That would upset people.
Now that would change the whole plot.
Well,
of the
that's what I'm
movie.
saying. Then the thing gets real interesting.
Oh, when he goes back and they're racist.
Well, he goes back to the 50s.
Yeah,
It would be
exactly.
Marty would have a very interesting
That
time
would
then.
be a very different movie.
A black scientist. Come on.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, you know how, I mean, it kind of rocked my whole world, but that whole Matrix thing, having to look at it under new
Change
eyes.
the lens.
And then, I mean, you could just do that with any movie, you know,
Yeah.
like go into it and just change the lead character. And how does that fucking change everything?
But I think I mentioned this before. Robert Zemeckis, the maker, the guy who wrote and directed Back to the Future, there's a clause in there that says as long as he's alive, they can't remake it.
Yeah, so all the CIA has to do is kill him
There you go.
and then make themselves a movie,
There you
a
go.
hit.
With Kevin Hart as Marty McFly.
Well, that would make sense because he's a clone.
Doc!
Owned by the CIA.
There you go.
So we'll see how it goes. I don't think it'll be a good movie. Can you guys guess whether Billie Eilish is a Democrat or a Republican?
I would assume she's Green Party all
Is
day. She
that
was
why
homeschooled.
she's called Billie Eilish? Is it like an eyelash thing?
No, that's just a play on words.
Oh, you just did that. I gotcha.
Well, someone else did it, and I just repeated it.
Okay.
As we do as people.
What was your question now?
Is she a Democrat or a Republican?
Well, she's 16 years old, isn't she?
I think she's 18.
So she's not voting?
18, you vote?
You voted 18?
Yep.
Why do I care?
It doesn't matter. He asked you a question.
She's a Democrat, which leads me into the Democratic National Convention this week, where Joe Biden accepted the nomination formally to be president.
From Billie Eilish?
No, she performed on it. It was like,
Thanks.
look, guys, our country's really fucked up. I don't have to tell you. And we've got to vote in Joe Biden.
You know what's crazy about the DNC? There was one single guy in his house that directed the whole production.
Well, yeah, because there was no one there. It was just on the screen. And one of the things coming out of it is that they believe Joe Biden's speech may have been pre-recorded. Like he didn't do it live, like they're proposing.
Mm-hmm.
So he got it right because he's no gaffes. It was very articulate. But that he actually plagiarized the speech from himself and repeated a speech they did 20 years ago.
Well, it's not plagiarism.
Well, he copied himself. They just he.
But that's not plagiarism.
No, it's just reusing a same speech.
But the plagiarism was that he took a line from Jack Layton's final speech right before he died. And I looked at it. It's the same gist, but not the exact same words.
But again, to Matt's point, he's just reusing a speech. You cannot use the word plagiarize there.
No, I read the news articles. I'm just repeating what they wrote.
I just find the news hilarious that's what they would go after him for.
They should go up. He did seem way too coherent in that speech. If you put him up in comparison to the last, 10 public appearances he's made, he seemed like a whole different dude.
Maybe it
so
was a
I don't
deep
know
fake.
if they had better animatronics or the strings were tied tighter or whatever the fuck was going on, but he definitely seemed more coherent.
I said deep fake and you didn't respond to that at all.
Well, I'm just, how good are they with the deep fakes right now? Like, are they good enough that they can
You
fool
saw Once Upon a Time in
everybody?
Hollywood
Yes. What was the deep fake there?
when they inserted Leonardo DiCaprio into The Great Escape and took out Steve McQueen.
Yeah, but there's a huge difference between like
This was just a guy on stage with flags behind him. I mean, if it could be done, it could be done.
listen, I don't know anything about anything. You're probably absolutely right. And maybe it was a deep fake.
Listen, you're the
Maybe
CIA
he
guy.
has-
Hold on, you're the CIA guy. If Hollywood, think about how they're always 20 years ahead. So if Hollywood has what we know they have the technology of doing now, and if guys at home are doing these deep fakes, imagine what they
Yeah.
can.
argue that of course it was a deep fake. Or better yet, possible.
Yeah, the masks.
Look how good they can do shit in the now I'm not saying it like in real I'm saying in the movies
Body double.
they fool you all the time. And then Tom Cruise rips off the mask and it's like, you know? Tom Cruise.
And he's standing on a fucking
On
2-foot soapbox.
on a table. Yeah. huge lifts in his feet. But anyways, yeah, so it could very well just be a guy in a mask using his voice. Of course they have voice technology at this point.
Well,
How hard is that?
The
I could
conspiracy,
download that
the
shit.
conspiracy theory is it was recorded at a different time. We maybe did 50 takes to get it right, so it looked right, and that the article's words, not mine, plagiarized his speech from the speech from 20 years ago. This week, I believe, is the RNC, so we'll see what they come up with. I might as well just end that off. And you hear the news trouble that Trump's in now?
With the P tape?
Well, no, that's always been. But
That's old news.
a secret recording of his sister saying he's a bad guy. That's grasping at straws, eh?
Well, didn't the girl already put out the book that pretty much said his whole family hated him?
Yeah, well, now there's secret recordings of his sister. I just think there's so much other stuff that you could slam him for. It's just funny what they choose.
Here's the thing. Excuse me. Here's the thing. It's the elections. It's mudslinging. It's going to be on both sides. Trump is going to dish it as good as he gets it. I don't know why you would be surprised of what they're trying to throw at him.
Well, I just thought there'd be something much better than his sister says he's a jerk.
Yeah, that's this week, and next week it'll be something else, and the week after that it'll be something else.
I guess I'm just a weirdo. But one thing that I didn't think about, we all thought Kamala Harris was a horrible choice, but she might actually appeal to a lot of Republicans.
She might
like hardcore conservatives,
Tough on crime.
I wasn't going to vote, but I can vote. If that bitch is going to be up there, then I can vote
I just
Democrat.
wonder, is it enough to make you change parties, once you're a Republican or you're a Democrat.
Well,
That's
no,
what I'm
but
saying.
what if you're fed up with Donald Trump?
Doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters. I think they are
Republicans
so
especially are so staunch that they're like, I don't care how much I hate Donald Trump, I'm not voting Democrat.
It could have been
Whereas Democrats might have been like,
it could have been Mitt Romney. A bunch of them would have hated him because he was a Mormon, but would have done it because he's a Republican.
But Kamala Harris may be enough of a tough on crime person that.
Oh no, I heard you. I just disagree.
No, but we were all wondering why Kamala Harris, and this is possibly why. She might be the only one they think could swing over people from the Republican Party.
I think it's much more likely that they thought they could win the black vote. Like if we're looking at Occam's razor,
it was also
or
really
the woman's vote.
It was also really tough after he went out and was like, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. You really kind of have to throw someone black on your ticket at that point.
Well, he said he was doing a woman of color.
See, you can't even do a
before.
Biden impression, and it's not even your fault because you've probably only heard him talk like 4 times.
I wasn't even trying there. I just didn't. That was a generic old person.
Just
Sorry.
a throwaway?
Yeah, totally.
Either way, I doubt you could because
B-roll.
nobody hears him.
We'll see.
He's been dead for 10 years, according to you.
A follow-up to a story we followed a couple weeks ago. The Bloc Québécois said they were going to trigger election if Justin Trudeau and the finance minister did not resign. The finance minister resigned.
Yeah, Justin Trudeau did not.
Yet. Well, I doubt he will.
He won't.
He's not going to.
But the finance minister resigned to get a better job.
You think? Well, he's probably
Well,
going to work for a bank now.
Exactly. What he said is, I never intended to be here long term. So I think there'd be a better person to handle the country during this pandemic than me because I wanted out of here anyways. But wouldn't what he's just done sort of disqualify him from getting a job?
No.
I just think that world is so corrupt. It reminded me of when in the Epstein documentary when the guy was saying, they talked to Bear Stearns or whoever it was and said, we have this guy, he's a bit of a recluse, and the company's like, send him over.
Yeah.
Because he's unscrupulous.
I think that's just totally how it works. Like you take the fall for this, but I'm going to, make sure you're patted on the way down.
But that doesn't happen in a lot of jobs. You don't fuck up or do something really bad.
What Kamar's saying is if you burn down a McDonald's, you can't turn around and then go to KFC and be like, listen,
if you're working at McDonald's, I have
but
a lot of experience in
you at least
fast
look
food.
at KFC and you're like, but I burnt down a McDonald's, so
I just think that world is finance and stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I agree.
pretty gross.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I just think it happens a lot.
Well, Anyways, he's gone, and they've hired a reporter.
Who's hired a reporter? What does that mean? As the finance minister?
She was foreign affairs or something, but that's her background. Like, she's not an economist or.
Good for us.
So we'll see how that happens. And the last story I have is the new Batman trailer came out. Could you guys give a fuck?
Who's directing it? Isn't Zac Efron Batman?
No, it's Robert Pattinson.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, I'm always interested to see what they do with Batman. Who is directing it, though? Is it the guy?
Nolan? No.
Yeah, he's done.
No.
Well, he's got his new movie, The Tenant, coming out, which will be the first
That's it. I
major
have to fucking
blockbuster.
show you.
The
God
Tenant.
damn it.
That's the one you wanted to show me.
What was the other? I had to show you something else, too. Oh, Call of Duty. Okay, Call of Duty.
You got anything else, Kay?
I'm just going to figure out who the director is. It's Matt Reeves. And what was interesting
What
is
has he directed?
Something. If they're giving him the new Batman, he's done something.
but there's a huge argument now because Colin Farrell is the Penguin or the Riddler or whatever the villain is, and a lot of people are treating Christian Bale and Heath Ledger's the ultimate Batman. And I think of Michael Caine and Jack Nicholson. Like, that's my standard for Batman.
Michael Caine.
Michael Keaton.
He said Michael Caine.
Yeah, I know.
Michael
He meant
Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
I was like, was he
I
Batman?
agree that he's my first Batman, but Heath Ledger is the best Joker.
I
He's
think-
better than Jack Nicholson.
I think he's the best Joker. And then
That's unfair, though.
To Joaquin Phoenix.
It's unfair to Jack Nicholson. He
It
played
is.
He played the Joker that they wrote for him
You're right.
incredibly well.
Terrifically. And you know what? If he had played Heath Ledger's Joker, he might have done something
He
crazy,
might have fucking
shining,
killed.
right?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. He might
Yeah,
have done
yeah,
like
yeah.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest type of shit. It's a really tough comparison.
I like him
In
better
my opinion.
to watch.
But
I
don't-
would rather watch the Heath Ledger Joker. That's the best I can give it.
Don't
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think it's generational though? Like just like there's someone who's never seen the Batman we're referring to.
They're going to hate it.
Well, they might like it more than they like Val Kilmer or George Clooney or
Keep in mind,
Ben
there was
Affleck.
like just the Batman that Christopher Nolan did was like a gritty, dark Gotham, whereas like the Batman that Michael Keaton and
it was way more common.
It was
key
Tim
and-
Burton.
yeah, dude, you remember when he pulled out the fucking revolver that was like 8 feet long and shot?
It was Tim Burton. Like,
Yeah, I
you
know.
can see it in everything.
He shot down
you
the
know?
plane.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was the best part of the whole movie when he flew the Batmobile or up to the sky and did his own fucking bat symbol.
As we're talking about this, I'm like thinking back to that movie and how he doesn't move properly. Michael Keaton, like even in the fight sequences, the
suit was too
suit is
restrictive.
fucking so
it's
tight.
terrible.
Kevlar.
Like the only good part about that movie is Jack Nicholson.
Well, Michael Keaton.
No, Michael Keaton's a great Batman.
Is
He's,
he?
yeah,
though?
he's really good dark. Like he's got a good.
Here's the thing.
And he was a good Bruce Wayne.
I don't love Christian Bale as Batman, so it's like a tough. Michael Keaton was better than Christian Bale to me, but
I really like
I don't
Christian
think
Bale as
either of
Batman.
them were great, frankly.
How did you not like Christian Bale as Batman? He was
I
really good.
don't know, his voice when he was being Batman
I'm
was
Batman.
stupid. And I love Christian Bale. I don't know, for some reason I don't know if I bought him in that movie.
Fair enough. 3.
So
Those three movies.
do you think expectations you will not be able by Robert Pattinson?
No,
going in?
I mean I will. I'm able to forget about my problems until after.
When they first announced him, I was like, no way. But then I saw the trailer and sure.
What is our?
I mean, how
I-
much talking does Batman do? Sorry, Matt.
No, it's just weird our fixation with like how every 10 years we need a new Batman.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's a generational thing. Like, we can't just have the same old thing. A la Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, Ghostbusters, whatever.
Which is
Spider-Man as well. There's a
which
new
is
fucking Spider-Man
fine
every
if
5
you're
years.
gonna
Which
follow
is raising ire.
like Batman. If you read the comic books, there were tons of different storylines, like different almost universes where different things.
When he was the
happened.
Dark Knight compared to just the regular Batman.
He got killed by the Joker in one. Whatever. So if they were doing that, where they were telling different stories every time, I'd have no problem because then it would make sense to change like the way it's shot and all that
stylistically,
shit.
whatever.
But if you're gonna tell the same origin story over and over again, like that's fucking boring. Is that what they're doing?
It's just trailer, but I think even with the Spider-Mans, you have to have he let Uncle Ben down when he went to the wrestling thing, or you know what I mean?
Do you look at, like, did you see Into the Spider-Verse? Yeah, you did. What a great movie, you know? Like, there are other stories to be told.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that they're redoing old criminals and stuff. Like Bane was new in the new Batman, and Paperface or whatever he was, Scarecrow.
Paperface.
Which may have been drawn from the graphic novels, but just not your run-of-the-mill.
Well,
the
those
Riddler.
guys were all part of the comic books. They didn't make them up for the movies.
No, I didn't ever know about Bane, though. I didn't read those articles. So it'll be interesting to see.
Comics.
And 10 years from now, there'll be another Batman, and someone will be saying, Robert Pattinson's the only Batman I can respect.
Some generation will be.
And we'll
that's
go on and on
interesting.
like that.
Yeah, it'll be tough, though. Heath Ledger won an Oscar.
Posthumous Oscar.
Doesn't matter. He won an Oscar.
No, I was just saying that's even cooler.
No one in the Batman realm has even come close to winning a fuck. Did Jack Nicholson get?
I think he did win something, yeah.
We got nominated.
Best supporting
maybe.
actor, maybe.
I don't think so.
Best bad guy in a motion picture. They used to have that award.
That was an MTV Movie Award.
Just best kiss. I don't know, man.
Are we done then? Is that
That's
a
all
post,
I
Joe?
have for the post, Joe. I mean, which one do you guys recommend this week?
The girls, the
David
ladies.
Blaine.
That's a tough one. The first half of Blaine or the girls, but the magic audio was just horrible.
Did you guys see that article about the Russian cosmonaut who caught a UFO on? He was filming the Earth from space.
Recently?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just
I don't
the
know how
other
that I missed that.
Just saying.
Jerked off to that one, did you, Simon?
No, no.
Quick little whack.
I've decided.
That's Colin Farrell.
Interesting.
He might win an Oscar.
That's Colin Farrell.
Exactly.
Are we talking about Colin Farrell?
Yeah, pretty boy Irish guy from The Gentleman.
That's not Colin Farrell.
It is.
Watch, it's gonna be like Alfred Molina or something.
just
And it'll be
shows
like,
me
oh,
some
I fucked it up. It's Alfred Molina.
Random dude. Well, it does look like Molina.
All right, well that's it. That's a post, Joe.
That's amazing. So he is the Penguin then.
I believe it's a Penguin. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Oswald Cobblepot.
So maybe he's the next to win an Oscar. Who do you think is going to be on this week? I think this is the last week. This is the last week, the end of a generation. It's huge. It's sad.
A couple
It's
of days
change.
before Simon gets paid.
$10? Is that what you're fucking? What is wrong with this guy?
I just like winning bets, man.
We should
Don't
kick-
tell me you don't like winning.
Yeah, dude. We should. I don't do it often, so I don't know what it feels like.
then you
We should.
love it.
We should kick that field goal this week too.
Okay, let me. I'll get out there and I'll see what's going on.
No, getting out there. What does
Well,
that
you want
mean?
me to just injure myself as I'm kicking?
That would be really good for the YouTube.
Well, I
actually.
could do that if you want, but that may very well happen.
We just got to go out there, do it cold, let the chips fall where they may.
You're gonna have to do some serious stretching.
Yeah, that's the idea. All right, that's a post, Joe. Oh.
I think Tom Hanks is going to be on next week.
It's like his Olive Garden. I told
Is
you.
this like a thing? And
Well,
I'm
I asked
missing
you
it?
guys who you think is going to be on next week, and you just
Brendan
go there.
Schaub.
Yeah, Schaub
Great
has
call.
to be on.
Great call.
That is a good call, Maddie. It's the last week.
Yep.
So
Well, technically, Monday of next week is the 31st, I believe.
we'll all be watching David Blaine.
what do you
Blues.
guys think about Sam Harris? That's what I'm calling. Sam Harris, it all started with him and it's going to end with him.
Well, that's our own start point. I think it's going to be all comedians just reminiscing.
Well, you're,
And Tom Hanks.
you're definitely going to get a comedian. So who was in town? Billy Burr was in town.
Bill Burr lives there.
Bill Burr lives there. Chappelle would have been in town.
Yeah, but they would have already done it. I think they're done filming. That's what I'm telling you
Yeah,
guys. They were
but
already
then
there.
People would have been hanging out because they
No,
want
no, I had
to
a feeling.
experience all the great things that are happening in Los Angeles.
Listen,
But do we think
I'm being facetious.
this week's podcasts are going to be filmed in Los Angeles or
Yeah.
in Austin?
Los
LA.
Angeles.
And these are the last, whatever it is.
Yeah, like
You
Matt
could do
said
6 or
last
3.
week, his parents, his kids and family are already long gone. Joe's like here wrapping shit up.
yeah, loose ends. Loose ends.
Maybe he even does one final one next week as a final show. But Sam Harris, that's my call.
Tom Hanks.
Universe, you heard it.
And again, if Chappelle was
Please.
going to be on, he would probably want to save that for like the first week of Spotify,
For
as
sure.
opposed to the last week. You know.
And maybe that's what he's doing with Harris.
Or who knows? Maybe he goes out on YouTube with a big fuck you with a big 60 million views. You know what I mean? Look what you guys just lost. Oh, he does Alex Jones, Dave Chappelle, Elon Musk, and
Well, Alex Jones says he has something coming up with Joe.
Alex Jones would be worried. I think that that they would take it down, so he would wait until it was on.
no. Well, there. So
Spotify.
you just said it. That'll probably be the first one on
I agree.
Spotify. Alex Jones.
Yes, I agree
That was a
with
big, because I saw Alex Jones with this other podcaster, and the podcaster was like, so Joe's moving to Texas, and Alex Jones was like, I don't know about that. He was like, no, he said it. He was like, oh, he said it? Yeah, well, I knew this all along.
Also, I've only seen all the videos recently have been of Alex Jones running around Austin, Texas like a fucking maniac, accosting like volunteer workers who are
Really?
enforcing. Yeah, like there's.
Oh, dude, that video you sent me was hilarious. Is
Of
that
him
what you're
running?
talking about? Yeah.
No, that's one of many. Yeah, but there's a bunch. Like I saw him.
It's some pep in his step.
Yeah, he moves fast when he wants to fucking disagree with
Dude, he
somebody.
runs like a wacky waving inflatable arm, fucking used car dude.
Well, I think he had a microphone on him. That was the whole thing.
Super
right?
weird. Anyway, that's a post, Joe. Thank you so much for listening. We got to record a throwback, so this is all you're getting.
This is all you're getting.
Have a great weekend, and
Keep your eyes open.